career orbit. So today we're going to be talking about a very meaningful topic, and that is centered around the issue of purpose. Now, a lot of people struggle to define what their purpose is, and in particular, they don't understand what the relationship between their purpose is as well as their career aspirations. So in today's video, we're going to be spending time unpacking the topic of purpose, but most importantly, how to align your purpose, once that's discovered, with your career aspirations, a role, or any position that you are actually eyeing, or a position that you're currently in at the moment. In today's video, I'll be sharing with you a number of tips on how to take your purpose and align it to your career aspirations. The notion of purpose has got a multiple range of definitions, but for the sake of simplicity as well as relatability, we will be using a basic form of definition when we are talking about purpose. So purpose is something that is found in you. So it is innate and it is found internally. So essentially, these are your gifts, these are your talents, and this is something that basically makes you tick. So easily defined, this is basically your passion, and some define it as your strong points. So when you sit back, it's something that you actually do with the least amount of effort. So when you wake up in the morning, when your alarm goes off, if you jump out of bed because you can't wait to get through to your day because of what you have to do, now that is something that is fulfilling, that is in line with your purpose. So essentially, purpose is something that's innate. It's something that you're really, really passionate about, and something that you actually do effortlessly. Now, the key questions are, now that we've actually discovered what the key definitions of purpose is, how do we then take that and marry that to our desired career aspirations? Now, let's talk about a number of tips that will basically practically help you to trickle down this definition towards your career aspirations. So tip number one. Is, I think, the one that is incredibly important to me, because it allows you to do a lot of self-introspection and a lot of self-reflection equated with evaluating yourself. So essentially what you do here is that you take a step back, you evaluate what it is that you enjoy doing, what it is that basically makes you tick, and what is it that you actually do with the least amount of effort. So this you do in a very honest and transparent manner, where you try and evaluate yourself in terms of your innate characteristics and what it is that actually makes you stand out. What are some of the strong points that differentiate you from your peers, because what you do allows you to do it with minimal effort. So once you've done that evaluation and that self-introspection, now we go to tip number two. So tip number two essentially is, once you've understood and evaluated what that passion is, those strong points are, you basically take those characteristics and then you understand, or you search for the job positions that are out there in the market that will basically align to your purpose that you've now just unpacked and discovered. So what do I mean by aligning the two? So essentially, you look out for a role that is related to your purpose. So you look out for a job description that's aligned to that role, and then you look at the key performance indicators, the competencies of that role, as well as the key qualifications for that position. Now, once you've actually understood what those actually look like, then that leads me to tip number three. So tip number three then enables you to understand what your current individual development gaps are in relation to the contents, the key performance indicators and competencies of this role that you have just seen. So remember, you've got the designed job description. So you can Google a job description, or you can Google some competencies of this role that you potentially want to go into that's aligned to your purpose. So then you look at what your gaps are in relation to that job description. Now let's make this practical. So essentially, if, for instance, you want to go into a engineering space because you believe that that's your passion, so you look at the qualifications, and if they say that you need to have a Bachelor of Science in Engineering, I'm being very hypothetical here, then if you look at the qualifications that you have and you see that they're not in line with the related qualifications that they are looking for in that job description, So that's the first tick, because now you know that that's your gap. So you may want to go and embark on a professional qualification or a certification that will be in line with the qualifications that the role is actually looking for. So the second thing that you may want to do is obviously look for mentorship and coaching opportunities. So it's not enough to have a qualification, but I would recommend that you find somebody that's already in that space that is able to guide you and give you the necessary skill set to be able to prepare you and position you for going into that position that you've actually eyed. I personally believe in mentorship and coaching because most of the time, coaches and mentors, number one, they help you find solutions from yourself to the problem that you're going to them for. And then secondly, they're very critical in terms of guiding you. And in this case, in terms of your career path that you want to actually go into. We've spoken about tip number one, which is self-reflection, self-introspection, and evaluating yourself and your characteristics in relation to what you actually want to embark on in terms of a position or a career aspiration. Then the second thing we spoke about is then finding that ideal position and aligning that to your purpose. Okay. And then the third thing we spoke about was identifying your development areas or gaps and putting together an individual development plan that would be in line with the contents, the key performance indicators of that role. Now, the last thing I want to say is you need to be patient with yourself. So now that you've actually understood what the structure looks like in terms of what you want to do, be very intentional, be practical about doing it and putting it into practice. And this is an ongoing exercise. It's going to be a journey. For some, it'll be longer than others, but at least there is a map in terms of where you're going because you've defined what you want to do and your goals in relation to the career aspirations that you want to venture into. And most importantly, then that would be aligned to your purpose. Now, it's important for you to live in your true purpose because then you'll be more fruitful. You'll be more joyful in your job in terms of what it is that you are doing. But like I said, for some people, it may take time. But I hope I've managed to actually share the blueprint in terms of the starting point of aligning your purpose to your desired career aspirations. Thank you so much for watching this video, and don't forget to subscribe on all of our social media platforms. That would be YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And herein you will get the most recently updated content in relation to helping you creating a meaningful and sustainable career.